This episode has been brought to you by JustNForm.com. If you're tired of being censored, tired of having your data stolen and sold, go to JustNForm.com, a social media site where all voices are welcome.
So, Donald Trump and the Democrats decided to engage in some more political theater. At this point, I don't think any of us are surprised. We're kind of used to it. In some cases, I wish that we didn't have to laugh it off. But like, in order for us to get through this current political environment, it's almost like we have to laugh things off in order for us not to go insane. Because I listened to both Trump's speech regarding his border wall. And of course, I listened to the Democrats' response to Trump's speech about the border wall. And let's just say both of the speeches left all the American people found wanting. And what I mean by that. So Trump decided to fearmonger his way into the hearts of the American people. He kept talking about the fact that there are immigrants killing everybody and that he's trying to protect kids from being trafficked as far as human trafficking is concerned, which is a big deal, right? Sex trafficking is a big deal. And in all fairness, Trump is one of the very few presidents who have talked about, human sex trafficking. And unfortunately, I wish that it wasn't being used as a manipulative tool or an attempt to posture himself, trying to appeal to the hearts of many who don't actually care about the kids who are being trafficked. Let's be very clear about that. Most of these people are more concerned about themselves and how immigration may or may not perceivably affect them. But I will give Trump credit in that regard. He is one of the only ones to have talked about trafficking. But he says that these people are criminals and pretty much using the same arguments that he used while he was running for office. But like always, Trump, if he isn't lying directly, he is absolutely lying by omission. Once again, Trump fails to address the fact that most immigrants don't stay here or don't come here through the border. They come here legally. And they actually stay through their visas, and then they become undocumented or quote unquote, as they like to call it, illegal. I don't believe that there's a such thing as an illegal human being, and I believe that borders are arbitrary in many ways. I don't think that we should have a totally unsecured border, but I do believe that the solution that Trump is proposing is once again an attempt to posture himself to look like he is doing more and look like this wall is going to do more than it actually would. Because we've had walls before. We have. Now, he did say something that was true, by the way. He did say that the Democrats actually were in support of a wall at one point. And that's true. I don't know if y'all recall this, but Obama himself said that in his run in the primary against Hillary Clinton, that he would be in support of a border wall. Once again, I'm not a really strong Obama supporter, so I'm not surprised by this. Hillary said the same thing. Matter of fact, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and a lot of Democrats agreed with that. Which is why I find it funny that in the Democrats' rebuttal, they didn't actually address that part of Donald Trump's speech. Because let me be very clear about something. The only reason that Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer are so avidly against this border wall is because it's coming from Donald Trump. It's just a fact. Now, granted, it happens to be a means to a progressive end that they are against this border wall. But the fact still remains that they wouldn't care. Matter of fact, you want to know how I know they wouldn't care about the quote-unquote tough on immigration stance that has been taken by Donald Trump if it was a Democrat? You don't have to look no further other than Obama's administration, who deported more undocumented immigrants than any other president combined. It happened under Obama. Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi did not care then, So why are they pretending to care now? Why? Because they're worried about keeping their elected office and quote unquote resisting. Now, here's the problem with both Donald Trump and his wall and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and trying to blame this government shutdown on Trump, which, by the way, is merely a temper tantrum. And I am very disappointed in Donald Trump and the president's administration and trying to use America to hold American jobs hostage, American paychecks hostage, in order to essentially take care of a foreign policy issue, because that's what it ultimately comes down to. Here's the problem with it. Nobody wants to address the truth, because if they did address the truth, then guess who comes out looking bad on the other side? Both Democrats and Republicans. Understand that a lot of the turmoil that has been toiled in South America, in Central America, comes from none other than the United States itself. A lot of the human trafficking has been facilitated by agents of the United States. This cocaine that Donald Trump mentions in his speech, I know he talked about drug trafficking a lot. Do you know where a lot of those avenues have been created? Those avenues were created directly by our United States intelligence agencies. Maybe a little bit less at this point, but pretty much the 60s, 70s, and 80s, the crack era, yeah, that was all United States. So maybe, just maybe, we could incentivize people to stay in their own countries if they were not dealing with a lot of the tumultuous environments that we have facilitated. Maybe if we would stop messing with people's economies, they wouldn't have to go look for a more stable. And by the way, I know y'all run through the United States, but our GDP is a lie. Don't believe the hype. Things aren't as gravy as they may appear to be. But it's still better than the fear that you're going to get kidnapped in the middle of the night by a drug cartel that was propped up by the United States military-industrial complex. But that's neither here nor there. When are the Democrats and the Republicans going to start having real substantive conversations about what causes these issues in the South American and Central American countries? Not only there, but over in the Middle East too. We have refugees that come to this country for the same exact reason. It's the same exact reasons. The military-industrial complex that the United States has cultivated is destroying nations, and all parents want is a chance for their kids to be raised in an environment where they do not have to worry about being bombed in the middle of the night. You know, being held hostage or having their business destroyed by a drug cartel because they're not paying off the right people or paying enough. There are some people who say, well, why would you put your kids in that scenario? Trust me, there are a lot of parents, even in the United States today, who would drag their kids by the hair over a border if it meant giving them a better life and protecting them from almost certain death where they were before. You run the risk, if you don't bring your kid in the United States, of them becoming a victim of the cartels or the destabilized nature of their government and their economy. You either become a victim of it or you become part of the problem, because those are really, in a lot of ways, the only two ways to survive. But there's also this reality. Trump, you can build a border wall you want to, but like at the end of the day, like people can just go to Florida. Like, let's be honest, right? I live in Miami, bro. That ball ain't stopping a damn soul from getting. We got Cubans, we got Colombians, we got people from Argentina, we got people from Brazil. They're not, hell, even Eastern Europe is flooding in through Florida. So like, this wall isn't actually a means to an end. It is merely a way to pretend like something is getting done. And make no mistake about it, the Democrats love that Donald Trump is trying to hold the government hostage in order to get this wall done. Because it's an easy debate to have. And it's an easy way to make them look like they're doing something. But this is what the Democrats are planning on doing the entire time they're in office, in case you were wondering. It's just, we need to resist. What have they introduced since they've been in office? I'm glad they've been resisting. We heard about this Green New Deal from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and yet nothing has been discussed outside of what her and Ro Khanna and Barbara Lee and a couple of others have put forth. But the Democrats are trying to push back on that. Keep letting them convince you that they are any different than their Republican counterparts. Thanks for watching that segment of Mi Casa es Su Casa. You can donate to our Patreon and keep helping the network grow by clicking on the link in the description below. And also, make sure you join us at JustNForm.com. And finally, make sure you subscribe to us on Roku and be part of the very first independent news network on Roku TV. But more than anything else, always remember, find your balance. Peace.